Here are 5 reasons you might want to buy the RX 6400. So this little guy is AMD's latest GPU into the market. It was actually a rather quiet launch just over a week ago on April 20th, with them not really disclosing that they were coming out with a brand new card. Because in fact, the 6400 has been out for months now because it was launched at the same time as the 6500 XT. But it looks like AMD decided there was a market to sell these to PC builders themselves, and so that's why we have a brand new GPU on our hands. And AMD's come up with a rather compelling card, which brings me to reason number 1 you should buy it, and that is it livens up the low-end market of the PC building industry. A lot of cards are focusing on the mid-tier or higher-tier card. NVIDIA's lowest-end card is only $299 right now. It has been many moons since we saw a more moderate launch from AMD. The GTX 16 series launched many ages ago, and the RX 6500 XT cuts down on too many things in order for it to actually be a really compelling lower-end GPU. The 6400 changes that and is the start of a new conversation in 2022 about people being able to build more budget options. Number 2, this card is insanely efficient, has a very low power draw, and most of them don't require an external power connector. We did a lot of testing comparing it to the 1650 and the RX 570. The RX 570 because it came out around the same MSRP as the 6400, and this GTX 1650 because it's the alternative low-profile, low-power GPU out there. And what we found is that the 6400 is the most efficient under load. During idle, the 6400 consumed about 52 watts, the 570 consumed about 77, and the GTX 1650 was the most efficient at 45.4 watts. But under load, that's where we see the 6400 come into play. The 570, no surprise, sucks 203 watts total from the system. The GTX 1650 sucked 137, and the 6400 came in the most efficient at 112 watts. Which shows that AMD has come a long way with their architecture in making sure efficiency is at the core. But obviously, that doesn't matter unless the performance is there, which we'll talk about in point number 5. Reason number 3 you should consider picking up the 6400 is that it's brand new. There's a warranty. You can get similar performance out of older cards, but they've been out for 4 to 5 years now, which means that their warranties are likely expired. So if something goes wrong, like a 970 exploding on you,
all around me are familiar faces,
then you have no recourse for warranty claims. The 6400, even though I'd probably disagree with the price, makes a lot of sense for people who want peace of mind surrounding their PC parts purchases. But what's also brand new and you should consider picking up is our merch. It's actually going to be going away by April 30th. So in case you wanted the brand new UFD Tech merch, you should pick it up before this Saturday, because otherwise it's going to be gone forever. Then, reason number 4 is that this GPU can fit into essentially any system that's out there on the market. Because it doesn't actually have a power connector, you don't necessarily need a higher end power supply. This is going to be great to put into Dell Optiplex builds that people want to spend very little money on something like an office PC and putting this in there. This opens up a lot of flexibility in the lower end market, but then on top of that, it's probably the best low profile GPU that you can consider right now. It really is a toss up between the 1650 and the 6400 when it comes to what GPU can you potentially put in small systems. And when we get to point number 5, you're going to see why I recommend the RX 6400 for that. It has so much versatility. This is the ITX model, but they come even smaller where you can shrink it down so that you can make sure it fits into things that are really compact. This is probably the most versatile GPU for budget PC builders out on the market right now. Let's talk about that when it comes to the 6400, because that is the 5th reason you should consider the card. It is the best budget GPU out on the market right now. It rivals everything else that's out there. It's not as expensive as the 6500 XT, coming in at only $170, but still giving rather good performance. If we compare it to the 1650 and the RX 570, what we'll find is that on average, the 6400 is nearly identical to the GTX 1650 in most of the games that we played. There were several games like Valorant where the 1650 outperformed the 6400, but then there's games like God of War where the 6400 beat out the 1650. On average, the 1650 is only 2% faster than the 6400, and considering the fact that you can buy one new right now for $250, that's $90 extra for 2% better performance. The 6400 is super versatile. Now, comparing to the 570, not as good of a showing. The 570 is on average about 11% faster than the 6400, but again, remember the fact that this has no external power connector, this can come in low profile, and consumes about half the power of the 570. So staying within 10 to 11% is actually really respectable given the performance per watt. The 6400 offers a lot to the end consumer in the market right now. The gaming performance is just simply good considering it is the lowest end new GPU that you can buy on the market right now. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows because there are drawbacks to this card. So stay tuned, get subscribed, because tomorrow we're going to be talking about the top 5 reasons you want to skip this card.